We're going to go ahead and get started. If you want to continue and get something to eat, go ahead. We'll go ahead and get underway. I want to welcome everyone, and I want you to pay attention as I thank everyone to Coach Tips. And if he's writing something down, that means that he forgot to thank them, okay? And which I do when he talks first. We want to thank the administration here at Lincoln County High School, and Coach Bell's not here tonight, but special thanks go to him, our athletic director. He came in to kind of a whirlwind this year and run himself to death, does a great job, and was a great supporter of ours this year. I want to thank the Tip-Off Club and their officers for all the hard work that not only has gone into this banquet, but the hard work they do all year long. For any successful program, it takes teamwork, not only from the team and the coaches, but the parents and all the grandparents and everybody involved in it, and even the community. And so a lot of hard work goes into the season. And our Tip-Off Club did a great job. It costs no money for our players to play. Everything is either paid for by the school or the money that we've raised for the Tip-Off Club raises for the players. And that goes to the summer camps and everything that we've done. And they're greatly appreciated. The parents for all their hard work, the things that they do in the concession stand, manning that all year. That's a big fundraiser for us. We really want to thank them. And from myself on it, from coaching this group of kids here, y'all have done a great job as parents. This was as good a group of kids as we've ever had come through here. And I'm extremely fortunate and blessed to be able to be their coach this year. David thanked the decorations earlier, but they look great. Flo, y'all did all of you did real well. I want to thank Todd Story for the announcing he's done over the years, and unless he finds a replacement, that's where he'll be every Tuesday and Friday night. But didn't want to leave out Matt thanking you for the work on the golf tournament this year, and thank Matt Slayton and all the women that worked the golf tournament. Like I said, it's a lot of work that goes in. Brian Neese, the radio crew, Brian and Michael Cothran and Matt Posey that did the stats, always do a great job, great friends, and it's just fun to talk to them off the air sometimes as talk to them on the air. But they do a great job, and Matt saves Chad and I a ton of time with by the stats and things that he keeps. You're writing stuff down. And then, of course, Paul Henry, back at the back, that has been around the program long enough now that he knows when to come ask questions and when not to after games, and it's kind of coincides with one that we've gotten beat by. But he does a great job. He donates every year the pictures that we put in our locker room, and we appreciate that very much. And then my assistant coaches this year with Savannah Hill for driving up here from Huntsville every time that she could in between her nursing career, doing the things that he did, and coming and sitting on the bench with us in all the games and doing the individual work that he does. I know that several of you now have got him working with your children, and that's a great thing. He does a great job. And then Coach Cavender, I want to thank her. It was kind of a rocky start, I guess, maybe. A different start. I wouldn't say rocky for us, but it's turned into something really, really good. She does a great job with the program and with the girls. immense help on the court, off the court. Really preached fundamentals, and she just brings a lot to the program. And we're very fortunate to have her. And I guess it might be derogatory to say that we think a lot alike, but she does a really good job, and very much appreciated. And and then every year, Coach Tips. It's been very interesting to go from being someone that coached him to now he's a peer that I admire and respect a lot. He does a great job with his kids and his program, and he's a great person. And sometimes he's kind of the, along with Michelle that I'm fixing to think, I'm sure we're not going to miss that, but helps to keep things on an even keel that sometimes it's hard to do. And but he does a great job, and I appreciate it, what he does. And then my wife Michelle, she's so supportive of being at almost every game. It's like when she's not there, it's like it's kind of weird for me to be coaching when she's not there, because she comes to everything, and I appreciate all that she does. And over the years, she's learned to pretty well just come home and shut the door, put her earplugs in, and let me rant and rave at the TV or the tape as I'm watching it later on that night. But I do appreciate her very much. And then last of all, but not least of all, the players. Okay, y'all were an awesome bunch to coach. You really were. You're fun. You worked hard. We didn't coach effort. Very little. We're leaving out the Bob Jones game, and but you came to work every day, and that's greatly appreciated. And I know that there's always stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but it was a tremendous locker room that y'all played for each other better than any team I've ever had. And I just thought that was tremendous. Like I said, you were competitive, and so I thank y'all very much for having the opportunity to coach y'all. Season, we'll just go through it real short and then get to the awards. We were 16-14, and if you measure the record or the season by success by your record, I guess we wasn't a great success. But if you measure it by how hard those kids worked, by them getting better, by them being a better team in February and March at the end of the year than what we were in November, then we were a great success. Because we went from getting beat by Siegel in the second game of the year here at our place, who was Siegel was probably beat twice by Oakland by 35 or 40 points both times, to us getting put out by Oakland in the final game in a really well played game by the girls, and tied up at the end of the third quarter, down by 3 with about a minute to go, and ended up getting beat by 8. And we actually played their side closer than anybody else did. But it went to their competitive nature, to how well that they got along as a team and how they worked as a team. Toward the end of the year, it's hard sometimes to get everybody a lot of playing time. And you could not ever tell it in practice, because they just came to practice and did whatever they could to help each other, and that was a tremendous thing. And it's very rare that happens, and I very much appreciate that. We were led by 3 seniors that they always seem to put the team first. I wish all of them the best as they start their post-secondary careers and whatever that is. I know all of them will be going to college. They're all very smart young ladies, and in their 3 years, they've won 55 games and lost 38. That's very good. That's the third most wins by a group of seniors leaving here in the history of the school. So, you know, they came to practice, they came to play, and I very much appreciate them also. The returning players, we'll have one senior next year, in Morgan Higgins, and then the rest of the group, and then with the upcoming freshmen, it's a real testament to them of how much the sophomores grew over the year. That was one of the big steps that they take, and it is a huge step to come from playing in the 9th grade and playing at that level, and then having to step right into AAA basketball, which is one of the tops around, and then we have to compete with 9 AAA out of Murfreesboro. So they do that, and they do it with a willing heart, and I couldn't be more proud of them. And they're already working very hard toward next season. At this time, I will, with the help of Savannah and Coach Cavender, hand out the awards. We'll start with, when I call your name, come up here and accept the certificates. We'll start with the participation certificates first. I don't think she's here. Ashley Smith was our filmer this year, and that's a huge role, and she did a really good job. Last year, I wasn't real satisfied with how the filming was going, and my wife heard me griping about it one night, and she said, "Well, okay, I'll just do it." And so I fired the filmer for one game, and then I got told, "You better hire him back." So it's a tough job, but Ashley did a really good job. First up is one of the sophomores, Samantha Williams. She did a great job for us this year. She's working hard, learned to not put the ball down on the floor all the time, and looking for big things to come back from the next year. Did a great job. Brianna Sanders. Bree did a really good job this year. She got a chance of being a really great shooter, and she really worked hard on the defensive end and did a really good job. Kayla Parks. Kayla's a post player, another sophomore. Came in and worked very hard, looking for big things for her to keep working. Darian Norman. Dee comes in and she's a worker. She comes in and works hard every day. She did a really good job. I'm looking forward for her to have a breakout season next year. Shelby Motter. Shelby was hindered by her ACL injury all year long, and she may have a little different role with us next year. Becca Luter. Becca did really well. She came in and she can play the 3 different positions, the 3, the 4, and the 5, and I was very proud of Becca and her hard work, and she's continuing to work hard. Bethany Lehman. Bethany did real well this year. She's someone that it just got better and better as the year went on. And she played really hard, rebounded the ball really well, and I was very proud of her. Lauren Gower, I think she may have been at a tennis match. Lauren did a really good job for us this year, did a great job. Chelsea Gatlin. Chelsea did real well, came on really strong at the end of the year. She's a great defender, and she's working hard with Matt over here on her offense now. McKinley Fitch. Mike did really well this year. It was a big step up. She had to guard the other team's best player most nights, and did a real good job, and she'll probably have a position change next year. Morgan Higgins. Mo was one of our team captains, and just not only a great person, but just a chance to be a really, really fine player for us this year and next year both, and looking for big things from her. Now the senior awards for the 3 seniors, we'll start with Kyla King. Kyla played 3 years here. She's very athletic, did a great job rebounding. She was second on the team in rebounding this year. My bad, coach. And did a great job. She averaged like 6 points a game and a little over 4 rebounds. McKinley Slayton. McKinley did a really good job, got aggressive. She even got mad at me 2 or 3 times this year. So that was an accomplishment in itself, all right, that it even showed, all right. She's probably been mad before, but it showed. She came a long way. I got one more thing to say for her. She came a long way from the person that was doing backflips on the trampoline and dislocating her elbow when she was a sophomore. So she did really good. And then Courtney Story. Courtney did a great job. We'll talk about some of her honors that she got and things a little bit later in it. But she did really, really well, and she was a great leader. She was the other captain on the team, and I'm still looking in. I've got the call in the TWSAA for a red shirt year, so we're still working on that, okay? Okay, the next award is the academic award, and this year we went with the numerical instead of the GPA. We have a really smart bunch, and I know that didn't show all the time on the court. And I've asked them that question a couple of times, but seriously, our overall team average was 94.34. That's outstanding. But the academic award goes to the highest academic average on the team. That was Morgan Higgins with a 99.71.
Okay.
Now this was a real battle, the rebound award, excuse me. Now, most of these awards are statistical awards. There's a few that Coach Kevin and I sat down and talked about, but most of them are statistical awards. And the rebound battle was very, very close between 3 players. Bethany Lehman was close, Kyla King was close, and but the winner was Morgan Higgins with 144. Free throws lost us a couple of games, but they won us. We shot the ball pretty well from the free throw line. And the free throw champion, I think maybe for the 3rd year, was Courtney Story with 76.4%. Most improved player. This player from last spring at this time when they were just starting to come over to the end of the year showed tremendous improvement. She went from playing probably 2 to 3 minutes a game at NGA to being a full-time starter for us. And she did a great job rebounding, defending, hustling. She doubled her three-point shots on one shot in the Oakland game, but is working hard every day. She's a very hard worker, and that's why she got better. And the most improved, and this could have gone to a lot of folks. There's a lot of these things that were really, really close. But the most improved player was Bethany Lehman. The best defensive player, and this again could have gone to several players, but night in, night out, I gave this person the toughest chore, the toughest person to guard, and she responded very, very well, and it probably took away a little bit from her offensive side, but she was willing to do that, for the team. And the defensive award goes to McKinley Fitch. Took this award away last year because we didn't take enough of them, but we had one player get enough up into double digits that we give it back. And this should be the Courage Award, but it's the charge is taken. And because for every one that you get called, there's probably 5 or 6 that you take that don't get called. And everybody already knows over there on the team who won it, because I griped about it all the time about us not taking enough of them. But we're going to be much better at it next year, and that work is already beginning a little bit. So we will be better at it next year. But this year, the winner of it was 13 of them drawn was Courtney Story. The MVP. I've got a list. Okay, she's 3-time All-District, 8 AAA player, All-Tournament player this year. She's signed a Division I college scholarship with Presbyterian College in South Carolina. She's the 3rd leading scorer in school history with 1,146 points. She's the all-time leader in steals and assists. And she will play in the East-West All-Star game this year. Our MVP for the 2013-14 season, and her ball with the 1,146 points that she scored, is Courtney Story. And the last award is the Lady Falcon Award, and that goes to someone that's overall, it takes in academics, it takes in how you act in the halls, it takes in what you've done on the court, it takes in who you are as a person, it's everything. And it could have gone like, with a group of kids like this, it's amazing that this award could have gone to a lot. But when we had to pick just one, it went to someone that in 3 years, I don't know that I ever heard her complain about anything and stuff. And this year, the Lady Falcon Award goes to McKinley Slayton. I think at the end, but seniors don't leave. You've got your banners up here, but you don't need to get them right now. But again, I want to thank everyone. I appreciate everything that y'all have done. It was a blast coaching y'all. It really, really was. And let's come back and get ready to go next year. Coach Tips.
All right, like Coach Hard mentioned, it's tough to thank everybody and remember to thank everybody. I did write down one name that you prompted me to remember whenever you were talking, but other than that, I'm going to go a little bit faster because I'm second, and a lot of these people have been mentioned already. It doesn't mean that I don't appreciate them any less than Coach Harden does, but you know, for the sake of time, I probably will go a little bit faster, and plus, Tori and Matt both think that I'm going to talk longer than 30 minutes, so I've got to trim some of it down a little bit. They say I've never done it before, so why start now? But I'm going to get out in less than 30 minutes. I would like to thank, obviously the food is really good, appreciate that, appreciate the Booster Club, getting everything organized, and Coach Harden and I actually didn't go to the meeting. I think we were told not to come to the meeting probably, but and that's really good. A couple of years, or 10 years ago now, when I first got the job and Coach Harden was already here for a year, the Booster Club was really just kind of starting, and actually it was a girls' Booster Club only, and they allowed the boys to come in. But it's been a long time coming when you can have a Booster Club meeting and Coach Harden and I don't have to be here. We like to be there and have some input, but it's good now that it's kind of getting to be a little bit self-sufficient, and we really appreciate that. Obviously like to thank the radio crew of Brian and Michael Cawthorn and Matthew Posey with stats. Like Coach Harden said, sometimes it's fun to talk to him off the air as it is on the air. Sometimes it's more fun to talk to him off the air than it is on the air. Sometimes, but those guys do a good job, and they're extremely supportive of us, and we really appreciate that. I'd say in my 10 years, I think they're probably the best radio crew in our district, probably 10 straight years. I can't think of a better one. There's some from the other districts from the other schools that really get on your nerves, and I could name schools, but Brian knows who I'm talking about. But our guys aren't like that. They're really, I like being around those guys. And then Austin Coletti, who also kept stats a little bit for the radio crew and for us, chipped in there late about the last 9 or 10 games and videoed the boys' games for us, and did a great job. Actually didn't miss a play. Even the plays I wouldn't have minded not seeing again, he got those too, which was good because that's obviously helpful. And then Gus Osgood, who kept the scorebook for us, home and away games, almost every away game. Every once in a while on a holiday he might miss, but he did a great job. And then again, Todd Story, we're looking forward to another 7 or 8 years of him on the PA. Seriously, we really appreciate the job he did, and did a great job, and always there early and getting things going. And then, of course, Paul Henry back there, who likes to be in the background, but he's always around, and we really appreciate him. I think Coach Harden mentioned it, and we talk about it every year, but you know, I guess last year he was officially an assistant coach for the boys team, talking about Coach Harden, but that's really the only time he's been officially listed as one. But ever since I've been here, we always bounce ideas off of each other, and sometimes they're even good ideas, and we're like, yeah, we need to try that. And so it's good to have someone that you really trust and can talk about a lot of different stuff that, you know, probably not everybody needs to know about, but they need to be handled. And it's good to have someone that's got some experience and that you can talk to about things like that. And I know that throughout the state, in our district and teams that we play, not every boys and girls coach has that type of relationship. And you know, it's unfortunate for those people, but it really helps us out to be able to. You know, I really, you know, it's a boys and girls banquet. We're having it together. A lot of schools don't have it like this, and a lot of it's because of people like Coach Harden that are willing to, and we want to work together. And he does a good job, and I appreciate him. And then Matt, as like Coach Harden said, Matt Prince does a great job. He's officially, you know, boys assistant coach. He'll work with anybody who wants to play, and he does a good job of that. Boy, girl, you know, 15 years old, 6 years old, whoever, he'll help them get better. And he does a good job of that. Does a good job on the bench with, you know, some strategy things, and does a good job in practice. And he's getting better and better every year. So if you're not working with Matt in the off season, you need to be working with somebody, and whoever it is going to be hard pressed to be as good as Matt Prince is. And not a lot of schools have people like Matt. So I appreciate Matt. And then obviously my wife, Tori, I'm probably gone during the basketball season from mid-November to mid-February, and hopefully longer later in February and early in March. But this year, mid-February, those 4 months, I don't know, probably 50 nights a year when you count our away games and games I'm going to scout and NGA games and middle school games and Lions Club games and all that kind of stuff. And, and that comes with the job, and I enjoy doing that, but at the same time, you're leaving behind, a wife and 2 kids, so that's kind of tough sometimes. But she does a great job, and I really appreciate her. And she goes to a lot of the away games and every home game, and sometimes she doesn't get to see a lot of it because she's, going and getting popcorn and keeping Ansley off the floor, which is our youngest one, and stuff like that. So sometimes it's almost like the little kids, like, did y'all win tonight? I don't even know. And so anyway, but I appreciate her. And then Grayson, who really wasn't fired up about this banquet and missing speed camp in there. So she went to speed school, and then she's just now joining us eating a chicken strip here. But appreciate her picking up the jerseys for us this year in warm-ups, and she's fired up about being around sports, which is really good and really for this family anyway. And then Ansley, who is not here because she also didn't think I was going to keep it less than 30 minutes, and she doesn't sit still for 5, much less 30. So she's not here, but she'll find out later that it's probably good she wasn't here. Love all them, Tori, Grayson, and Angela. Appreciate them for putting up with me not being there, and they're probably wishing I had another game to go scout tomorrow night so they could have some fun. And then lastly, but not least, the parents. As I talk about these guys, as they come up, I have nothing but good things to say about all of them. They're the only bad thing I would say is they're really quiet, and that's not bad usually, but sometimes they're just too quiet. It's like, man, they don't ever see anything. Like right now, they're sitting in the front. It looks like they're in church. I mean, they're just hanging out, not doing anything. And that's like the negative, and that's really not a negative, but sometimes they're just a little bit too quiet, on the basketball floor sometimes, don't talk a lot. But they're really good guys, really work hard, and the reason I'm thanking the parents is because that obviously has a lot to do with how they've been raised and how they've been brought up at home to be respectful and things like that, and also appreciate the parents for driving to a few of the games. We needed some rides, and just being supportive at home. You can tell a lot by a team and what they hear at home by what their attitude is in practice. And these guys came with a good attitude all the time, and that gives you a pretty good indication they're hearing the right things and being supported at home in the right way. So I really would like to appreciate the parents, and I'm not just saying that just because it sounds like that's what you need to say at a banquet. I really do. I appreciate them, or you guys, the parents. Now on to the players. As I call you out, I'll call you up here one by one. I'm starting alphabetically with sophomores, and give your participation certificate. And just come up and I'll hand it to you. I won't have Coach Cavender come and stand for no reason again and get a hug. But just.
I love my job.
So anyways, as I call you out, the first guy is Austin Bennett. You can come on up here, Austin, and I'll give it to you. And as you're walking away, I'll talk about you. Good job, Austin. Austin played point guard basically his whole life, and still played a lot for us this year. But later in the year, we got to get him in a little bit at the wing, and he did a really good job, particularly defensively. He had a really good defensive game here against Shelbyville. A little bit of that had to do with some size. Shelbyville had a guard about like Austin, and Austin did a really good job, not just in that game, but later in the year as it went. We got him in on the wing a little bit, and he's going to provide some quickness and athletic ability as we go, and he did a really good job as the season went on. The next young man is Ryan Hall. Come on up, Ryan. Ryan, all these guys, as you'll notice, I'm about as tall as all of them, and I haven't grown since high school. Here you go. Good job, Ryan. So most of these guys, I'll say the same thing. Ryan was basically kind of playing out of position. He did play a lot of post and things as he was growing up, but really in high school, it'd be nice to get him out on the wing a little bit more. And so a lot of nights he was battling people in there that were a lot bigger than him, and even got a tooth knocked out one night, and or knocked dislodged, I guess it was. It never came on the floor. But anyway, it did have to be put back in that night. So Ryan did a great job all year. Another guy that doesn't say a lot, just yes sir, no sir, and do everything you ask him to do. Rebounded a lot, guarded the other team's more athletic post players and things, and Ryan did a really good job. The next young man is Eli Slayton. Come on up, Eli. Good job, Eli. Eli, he's growing like an inch every time I see him. So, and that's like every couple of days. So hopefully next week he'll be about 6'2". But he's just getting bigger and bigger, and he works hard, and very, very coachable. And I'll repeat myself. I probably could have done my speech at home and just put put it on a loop and it could have replayed every 5 minutes and been the same thing. Because all these guys do a good job. They listen really well. They're very coachable. They work hard. They do everything you ask them to do. And Eli's another example of that. He just continues to stay after and work and work and work. And when he got his opportunities this year, he did a good job. And I'm looking at in the future for him to continue to get more opportunities and continue to do a good job. Next young man is Shelton Smith. Come on up, Shelton. Shelton is another guy that kind of played out of position a little bit, had to play the power forward for us some, and even some games. Good job, Shelton. Even in, I think the Lawrence County game here at home, you had to play the 5, which is the center position, a little bit because we got in foul trouble and no telling what else was going on. But anyway, he is in there battling a 6'5" sophomore. And which Shelton wasn't a big fan of it, but he did it, and but he did what he had to do, and he played well. And later on in the year, we got to move him back out a little bit more, probably where he's a little more comfortable, and he continued to play well and had a really good stretch the last 5 or 6 games of the season. So he did a good job. Next young man is a junior, Fred Boyd. Real name's Cameron, but everybody calls him Fred, so I'll join the crowd. Good job, Fred. Talk about Fred probably a little bit more later on, but Fred does a good job for us. Really improved a lot from last year as a sophomore, and enjoyed coaching him this year. Next young man is also a junior, Austin Grimes. Austin played on the wing, did a good job. Played a little bit of 4, played inside some, and one of our better athletes, and got a whole lot more playing time than he did as a sophomore, which often happens if you keep working at it and keep getting better. So he did a nice job. And then this young man is a junior, but really experience-wise, he's probably still a sophomore because he tore his ACL right before his sophomore year and missed a lot of time as a sophomore. That's Trevor Jean. Again, played quite a bit, especially after Christmas, and did a good job for us, got more comfortable, and he can really shoot the basketball. He was doing a good job in the gym today during conditioning time, shooting the basketball, and he's going to continue to improve in that as he gets more comfortable with playing time and things like that, and Trevor did a really good job. This next young man's not here tonight. He had a baseball game originally scheduled. I think it did end up getting canceled, but he probably forgot that we had the banquet because he was planning on going to baseball. And that's Keller Monks. He plays all 3 sports. Came out for basketball as a junior. He obviously played it a lot in the past, but didn't try out as a sophomore, and decided to give it a try as a junior, and he helped us. Played in, I guess, every game, and played quite a bit in every game, and pretty good shooter. He's actually one of the more vocal people on the team, and so we're looking forward to him coming back next year and doing a good job for us as a senior. And this last young man, seniors, I'll get to you guys later, so y'all relax for a little bit. This last young man is Xavier Tallyhide. Xavier was the guy that we had coming back that had the most experience. Yeah, I did. So Xavier had the most experience coming back, and did a good job for us because he had a lot put on his shoulders this year because he did have so much experience. I mean, it went from a guy who had about 400 minutes of playing time 2 years ago to a team full of guys that this year Xavier had about 400 minutes prior to this year. To like the next closest guy is about 200, and then from that was like maybe 50. So he had a bunch more playing time than everybody else. So therefore he was asked to do a lot more, and he did a good job with that. And his leadership continued to grow as the season went. And I'm looking forward to him actually being a senior this year. We treated him like one this past season. Next year he'll actually be one. So that'll be exciting. And now as we go to our awards, Matt will get up here and help me a little bit. These, like Coach Harden's, the ones he gave out, were basically based on statistics. There's a couple that he and I discussed because they're not really based on statistics, but most of these are, just numbers. Who shot the best free throw percentage, who took the most charges, and things like that. So we'll talk about a little bit of those as we go. The first one is the free throw award. This young man shot 71%. We had a couple in the high 60s. We had one year we had about, our leading guy was about 58%. Ashton, that might have been your sophomore year, I don't know. But it wasn't junior or senior because you were better than that. But it might have been your sophomore year, it was about 58%. We didn't give it that year. But this year was good enough to give. So it was 71%, and that was Xavier Tallyhide. Did Coach Harden take his off? Next award goes to the best defensive player, and I really felt like all year, especially, they don't give you points just because you're inexperienced. They don't really handicap you in basketball when you start the game, if you don't have a lot of experience. But having said that, I really felt like with our not having a lot of size and not having a whole lot of experience, I really was pretty satisfied with how we played defense the entire year. And defense is an effort thing, which is a compliment to the players. They were trying, they were working really hard at it, and therefore it showed in our defense. But this young man, most of the nights, he was guarding one of the better players, and he did a really good job. And we had a couple guys that we didn't mind guarding a really, really good player most of the game. But this young man seemed to do it a little bit more, just had to do it a little bit more often than others. And he did a really good job with it. And it's also Xavier Tally-Hyde. We had a couple that could have, at least a couple that could have gotten this next award. It's the most improved. It's really tough. It's a compliment to Bethany to be able to get it on the girls' side, because it's tough as a sophomore to do it, because you only have a certain period. You don't have a 3-year period of time that you're around your coaches to do it. So Bethany really made an impression in a 6 or 8 month period of time, which is really impressive and well deserved. But usually sophomores have a pretty tough time winning this. And this one goes to a junior, because when he came in as a sophomore, he kind of had a long way to go. Even at NGA, it seemed like he played the 4 a little bit, and really wasn't a great shooter. At least I didn't think at the time. He might have thought that already, but I didn't think so. But he became a pretty good shooter. He shot 36% this year from the 3-point line, which is pretty good. Anytime you're getting above 35, you're doing pretty good. If you get in the 40s, you're doing really good. So we're hoping this guy gets in the 40s next year. But especially with him not getting a ton of playing time as a sophomore, it's pretty good to come in as a junior and shoot 36%. And that's not the only reason. He improved with his ball handling and things. We're still looking for a big improvement on the defensive end, and we've discussed all that. And but anyway, he did a great job for us this year, and that's Austin Grimes. The Charge Award, like Coach Harden said, it could be it probably should be named the Courage Award, because I don't know, you probably can't tell by my body language or Coach Harden's body language, but sometimes officials miss calls, and they miss some block charges. It's a hard thing to call. I mean, it really is. So anytime if you take 15 charges, you probably try to take 50. And you messed them up, you were there late, and so it was a block, and then sometimes they missed the call, and it really should have been a charge. So this young man, it seemed like every game he was trying to take 2 or 3 of them, and he did it last year as a junior. He did it a lot as a sophomore. Every chance he got, sometimes when he was a sophomore, he got on some of our seniors' nerves because they were always trying to score, and they thought he was going to hurt them. But he was just doing his job. And I can't say enough about him and the improvement he made over time, not just on the defensive end, but just overall. And the Charge Award this year goes to Tyler Jones. By the way, he had 16 charges this year. The MVP award is voted on by our players, and kind of tell them they can use whatever standard they want. If they were going to draft a team, who would they start with, or if we lost a kid, what would hurt us the most, or however you want to, who is in your mind, who was our MVP? And we had a couple different names popped up when it was time to do the balloting, but this guy's name popped up the most, and he did a good job for us, as I mentioned earlier this year. He had a lot of responsibility to shoulder. He was one of our leading scorers almost every night, one of our better defenders every night. As the year went on, he became a better and better leader, and he's one of our hardest workers, which coincidentally is why you get a lot of that other stuff that follows. Once you work hard, all the other stuff follows. And that young man is Xavier Tally-Hyde. The Academic Award, we do okay in the classroom, and I'm not ashamed of how we do, because we do good. I did not, however, calculate the GPA of our squad. So I don't have that to tell you. I know that everybody's passing, nobody's running, and so we're doing good. We could do better. There's room for improvement, so I guess that's good. It'll help our growth score at Lincoln County High School next year because we've got some room to improve. So I know some of y'all that aren't in education don't get the growth score stuff, and half of people here don't either. But anyway, we can improve in the classroom, but our guys do a good job. And it's kind of related to academics. I haven't had a issue all year with the teacher coming to me and saying your kids aren't doing anything in class, he's doing this, that, or the other. They do a good job in class. They don't cause any problems. Again, they could probably study for a test a tad longer so they make a 100 instead of a 90 and things like that. And matter of fact, I said probably could. They need to do that. But this young man had a 3.8 GPA, and and I've talked about him before tonight, so when you put some of the other stuff I said about him with the fact that he's got a 3.8 GPA, it just speaks even higher of him because he puts a lot of time in basketball, but he also obviously puts a lot of time in what he's doing in the classroom. And he had, like I said, he had a 3.8 GPA, and that's Xavier Tallyhide. I should have said on that, and this doesn't take anything away from Xavier. On the sophomores, Coach Hart and I both have kind of, we don't really count the sophomores because at this point they've only had their August to December grades count on their GPA at the high school. So that kind of wipes out half our team because we had about 5 sophomores. So really that was a junior and senior award, the academic award. The second to last award before we get to the senior awards is the Falcon Award, and it kind of encompasses all of these things. It's a guy who kind of fits the MVP role in a way because when you're starting a game, you want to have this kid on the floor or going to be able to get on the floor pretty soon because he's going to help you win games. He's also a kid that in the classroom, he's going to be trying as much as he can to do what he's supposed to in the classroom. He's not going to be in trouble. And you also want the Falcon Award to be a guy who's going to work really hard. And this young man kind of made a position change, I guess, in a way, technically, because we didn't have anybody any bigger. He was still kind of our 4 or our 5, which is the power forward and center position. And that's what he has always played since I remember watching him play. But this year, because we weren't very big, we basically had 5 guards. We just kind of played like that. We really didn't post up many guys. So this young man was still technically called a 4 or 5, but he was really playing a guard position. And that's the first time he'd ever had to do that. And he was not only the first time he ever had to do it, it's also the first season he ever really got much playing time in high school, and he made a position change, and he did it well. And he works really hard. He's a good teammate, good in the classroom as far as doing everything the teacher wants him to do, and not in trouble, and just being the best man he can be, and made a lot of improvement as a player from last year to this year, and that's Fred Boyd. Senior awards. We'll go again alphabetically here. So we got 2 seniors. First one will be Tyler Jones. You can just keep your seat there for a second. By the way, Tyler just came from a soccer game, so he did get the memo on the dress code. He just got done playing, so he just walked on in and he's ready to play. So don't think anything bad about him. He, as a sophomore, I jokingly say all the time, he came a long way, which means, 2 years ago, he wasn't the best player walking Lincoln County High School's halls, but he worked hard every day. He was, at that time, and I think I said it even at the banquet that year, at that time, he was the most enthusiastic kid I've ever had on the bench. He may not have played for 3 weeks, but he was going to be the first guy giving people 5 as they came off the floor, and just being enthusiastic and being happy to be at a game and being excited about it and all that kind of stuff. And then last year as a junior, he made a big jump in playing time just because he kept working at it. He's a pretty athletic kid. He went through a little bit of a growth spurt, but it was really just because he kept working at it and wanted to play. And then this year, he had to obviously take on a leadership role, being a senior and being one of the few guys we have with some experience. So Tyler will be one of those guys that in the future years, when you're talking about guys, you're talking to young kids who don't get a lot of playing time and say, we've had guys like that before. Just stick around and you'll be able to make your mark on the basketball program and Tyler's the only senior we've had that's played for the last 3 years, because obviously Quintez just moved in. And Tyler's a perfect example. He didn't play a lot as a sophomore, but he got a ton of playing time as a junior and then even more as a senior. And he has to show for it a good career that involves winning one district championship regular season and one district tournament championship. So he has a lot to show for it, and he's definitely left his mark here. And Tyler, you can come on now. We'd like to thank Tyler Jones. Then the other senior is Quintez Perry. Showed up about, 3 days before the first practice, maybe even the day of the first practice. I knew he was coming because he had called ahead. Like a reservation, I guess. But I knew he was coming. But I don't know what the timeline was on it. It was not very soon before the first practice. And he fit in well. I talked earlier about our team being really quiet. He's not the quietest guy. He's not the loudest I've ever coached either. Coincidentally, the last guy we had moved in from Mississippi, he's probably the loudest, most talkative guy I've ever had. So we've got this Mississippi pipeline going on, I guess. Anyway, Quintez brought us an aspect we didn't really have. He gave us a little bit of size, although he probably in his past life in Mississippi played as much on the wing as he did in the post. At least that's what he was telling me when we first got here. I think he just likes to shoot threes. He did a good job fitting in, which is tough. Luckily when I was in high school, I didn't have to move or whatever. And I'm sure some of you guys changed schools and things, but for a guy like to come in as a senior 2 or 3 days before practice and start off the first practice, and really everybody did a good job of accepting him, but he did a good job of fitting in. And a week or two in, you couldn't have told who the new guy was. Everybody, he did a great job and worked really hard all year. And and again, I know it's tough just fitting into something you really haven't done before, as far as what we were trying to do as a basketball team. But I can't say enough about Quintez because he did a really good job. So Quintez, you can come on up. Then while he's having a seat, first off, seniors, don't leave. Well, I've got your banners that are up here, so get those before you leave. And then I really didn't talk much about the season, just because I forgot to talk about it. It wasn't anything to be ashamed of. I just didn't mention it. I left in my notes. And just to sum it up, with the exception of Moore County, every team we played, the second time we played them, we either beat them after we'd lost to them the first time, or we played a much, much closer game. And kind of, Coach Harden, I was paying attention, but I've forgotten exactly how you said it. But something like improvement is really the measure of success, right? Something like that. Okay, I probably shortened it for you. But using that standard, which is a good standard to use, it's obvious we improved quite a bit, and that goes back to the players. Sometimes when you lose several games and you get beat pretty bad early, it's easy to come in and kind of fake it and just kind of watch the clock and hope practice hurries up and ends, and you can get on home and start moving on to something else and all that kind of stuff. But these guys stuck with it every game, and because of that, the next time we played a team, it was a whole lot better. Some of those teams we should have finished out. Giles County, we didn't really come all that close to beating them over there. We should have beat them here. Stuff like that happens, and we've got to work on that as it goes. We've got to finish games and things, but just look back when you get home, guys. If you have a schedule still at home, hopefully you still do, look back at the second time we played those teams, how much better we were. And that's not because those other teams were improving too, but we improved more than they did. And it's kind of one of those things you see in a game sometimes. A team doesn't lose, they just run out of time. They were catching a team. The horn just went off before the game ended. Before you called them, I'm sorry. The game ended before you called them. Our season ended before we caught the teams. And the good news is, with not many seniors and almost everybody coming back, we need to get back to catching them again. And so. And the other thing I want to say is the last game against Lawrence County, sometimes, and coaches talk about it when you're talking on the phone about scouting reports and stuff, and I've lost track of my time. I may be past 30 minutes, but I don't care. Anyway, a lot of times at tournament time, as coaches, sometimes you call somebody up and they'll say, yeah, this team's pretty good, but I really think they're done playing basketball. I think they're tired of playing. I think they're probably going to cash it in. If you guys start start the game well, I think that other team's going to quit. And you see that in teams that have a record like we had this year when you lose several games. This year with us, you didn't see that. The last game in Lawrence County, I mean, we're battling our tail off, and I think we played harder than they did. They made a couple more shots. And so it was really good as a coach and as a parent to see in your kids. I think you probably see the same thing I did, that those guys really still wanted to play. They were still buying into it. It just, we didn't make a couple of shots, but we were right there with one of the best teams in our district at their place in the district tournament. So I want to thank you for still coming to practice every day, trying to get better and trying to play and trying to keep it going because you still enjoyed playing the game. So having said all of that about this season, the last thing I'm going to say, Matt was making fun of me for saying having said all that. I say that all the time when I'm wrapping it up. But I do have calendars for next season. I've got mine already done. Coach Harden's kind of dropping the ball, but our season ended a week before. Our season ended a week before his, so he'll have his done by next week. But if you want a calendar for our summer team camp, they'll be up here on the board on the table. So I'm done. I appreciate some of you guys I don't see a whole lot. But if you have a plaque, Coach Henry, about hired you. Paul Henry wants a picture of you. But anyway, guys and ladies, I think we're done here tonight. All right, Courtney has something, and so does okay. Anyway, thank y'all again. Appreciate it.
31 minutes.
Did he make it?
No, a minute over.
I turned mine off with 3 left. I was afraid it'd go off.
Coach Harden and Coach Cab and Savannah, Coach Tips and Matt, we just want to thank y'all for these 3 years. It's been great. Y'all coaching us. We've learned a lot, and we just want to say thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. I don't know. I don't think so. We can open them in a minute. Yes, we are. I think we are. She said we are.
The pictures up here, if you want to get them of the players, you can have these pictures that's been framed. And the pictures on the table, if you find one of you can have those, the action pictures. And under each table has a sticker on one of the seats under it. If you've got that, you can get the middle piece to take with you. And if you don't want it, you can let someone else have it. So, thanks.